We can't forgive, and we shall never forget. Sohel Sorabji is with us live, former Solicitor General, one of India's most respected legal voices. Sohel Seth is with us, as is Sohel Seth is from Bangalore tonight, and Maruf Raza is joining us from Delhi. I will be joined by columnist and Supreme Court lawyer from Islamabad, Anis Jalali, and Tariq Azim, former Information Minister, in the next few minutes. Now, Mr. Sorabji, my first question is to you, sir. Mr. Sorabji.
Hi, yes, Bodo.
Yeah, good evening. Point here is, Pakistan says, Mr. Sorabji, that we may not be able to do anything about Lakhvi, only on the basis of Kasav's confessional statement. You need to let us send a 3-member judicial commission, prosecution, defense and one more officer to India to interview the investigating officer and the sub-divisional magistrate in this particular case. Then maybe we'll be able to do something. How sustainable is that position, Mr. Sorabji?
It's totally untenable. It's one of the many excuses Pakistan is giving from time to time for not bringing the perpetrators to justice. I think it's ridiculous. Kasav has a fair trial. The confession has been gone into, and all this, these demands from Pakistan, I think, are really meaningless.
But this is new. This is a completely new thing that they have come up with. And in fact...
Yes, they can imagine new things. They'll come up with new things every time they want to sort it. They don't want to bring the perpetrators to justice. So now today this is the reason. Day after tomorrow there will be some ingenious reason. But it must have some basis in fact and in law.
Why are we indulging them is the question. Maruf, why are we indulging them? You know, we have even said that, okay, we will consider your wanting to send a commission if you let us send a commission. Now that, bottom line is, that's playing straight into the Pakistani game, isn't it? Why are we doing that?
Yes,
Arnab, you know, it's been a rule of life that when you make a few major mistakes, you just keep hoping like hell that the situation will turn around in your favor. Now, why we are indulging them is because of a delusionary vision that our Prime Minister has always had, that he hopes that having accumulated all the other academic accolades, he now hopes that he could have actually gone along with the Pakistani Prime Minister and hit at the possible the Nobel Peace Prize, because that was the only award left for him to get. And against the nation's wishes, against advice, I'm told, from very senior and experienced diplomats, he went again and initiated the process of dialogue with Pakistan because he believed that was the way forward. Now, his gamble on the Indo-US deal worked, but his gamble wouldn't work every time. And it's been proved on 2 occasions, both with the disaster of Sharm el-Sheikh and the Thimphu arrangement, that clearly Pakistan's establishment was not going to let their politicians make any concessions. And as far as Lakhvi and others are concerned, they are front for the Pakistani ISI and the military establishment. There are too many skeletons in the cupboard these guys are aware of. So Pakistan's military elite, and General Kayani is on record to say that these guys are my strategic assets. And this is the way that we will continue to use terror as an extension of foreign policy to keep India busy with us, and with the encouragement of countries like China, which is also encouraging Pakistan to keep India needle down and busy, so that Pakistan continues to divert India's attention from bigger issues. Now, as far as we are concerned, where we lost the opportunity, or at one point, where we lost the opportunity is because we did not go international with the evidence. At that point of time, when we had the evidence and we found Pakistan was dragging its feet, we could have got the international press to see all the evidence and say, see the international evidence and say to the world that really Pakistan is behind these attacks, and Pakistan's happily made itself a victim of terror, and we guys are looking as though we are now punishing Pakistan for something which has already been punished for. I mean, it's a ridiculous situation we've painted ourselves in.
It is a ridiculous situation without doubt, isn't it, Sohel? And Mr. Jalali, I'm just coming back to you, Mr. Jalani, who is joining us from Islamabad. Excuse me. It's a ridiculous situation, isn't it, Sohel?
I think actually 26/11 didn't ever happen. You know, Pakistan is right. There was no attack. There were some people who just went nuts and, killed other people. And India is just making a big deal about it. I mean, how bizarre is this whole argument? And I agree with Maruf. We are essentially a soft state wanting every conceivable accolade. Manmohan Singh wants to be modern India's Mahatma Gandhi, but the world has moved on. Non-violence is no longer an answer. You know, putting forth one more cheek, they will take several cheeks of yours. The reality, Arnab, is we are not reading the writing on the wall as far as Pakistan is concerned. I love the Pakistani people. They're hospitable, they're decent, but they've got a bunch of rogues, absolute scoundrels running that country. Even the Pakistani people will tell you that. You cannot be dealing with rogues and scoundrels with kid gloves.
No, but
you cannot be saying, oh, you know, we are India, we're the land of Mahatma Gandhi, so we have to be nice and goody-goody. To hell with this.
I get your point.
I mean, someone's got to be accountable. Chidambaram was the only person who rightly said that we have all the hard evidence, we need Pakistan to act. But then Chidambaram was told, no, you know, we want to soft pedal this because we've got larger diplomatic issues to
because the only fig leaf. I want to go to Mr. Jilani. Mr. Jilani, may I have your attention, please, sir? Mr. Jilani.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jilani, you know this whole business about Zakir Rahman Lakhvi. You know, Pakistan saying that we need to verify Kasab's confessional statement. I mean, what does Pakistan mean when it says that? And why has it come up with this communication only earlier this month? How did Pakistan discover this need 2 years and 3 months after the event? Or are you trying desperately to somehow let this man off because you are under some other kind of pressure? You as in Pakistan, under some other kind of pressure back home.
I think this is, of course, the trial is going very slow. There is no doubt about it.
It's not going at all.
I think, but I think the reason they have asked for the commission is that basically they are scared that they may not be able to prove the case. But even suppose if a commission is required, then you know, so much time has passed. There is no reason that why this could not have been brought about a year ago instead of bringing it about now. So, but see, you should keep this in mind that apart from these people, lots of terrorists who are caught by the police, they are then absolved by the courts because of lack of evidence. But, you know, I think this is unlike many of the other cases, and whatever evidence the Pakistani courts require or Pakistani prosecution requires, I'm sure India will be willing to share that evidence. So,
no,
but it's definitely slow, and there is no excuse for that.
For God's sake, the attack happened on India. I mean, has this gentleman got it wrong? We were attacked. You had handlers in Pakistan. Those jokers were controlling the Kasabs of the world. You need to tell us what your people were doing. For God's sake, how are we responsible?
No,
our people died, Mr. Jilani. Our people, innocent people died for no rhyme or reason. And it was an act perpetrated by the state of Pakistan. Get the reality right. You are a terrorist state pretending to be a democracy under a Zardari. That's the reality of Pakistan. I'm sorry that I'm upset.
I simply have one question at this point.
I
simply have one question at this point, which I don't understand. I want to bounce this off you, Mr. Sorabji. Maruf, just coming to you. You know, Mr. Sorabji, why are we letting ourselves get around in circles? You know, when we tell Pakistan, we want to send our team as well to your country to interrogate, say, the 7 Lashkar-e-Toiba men and Zakir Rahman Lakhvi, they tell us that you can't do that because we don't have an MLAT, Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty with you. Why don't we tell them the same thing? Why are we keeping them in abeyance? Why are we willing to do a quid pro quo? You send your commission, we'll send ours, unless there is some mutual understanding on both sides that let's defer and freeze this case forever. On the face of it, there isn't.
As I told you the whole demand of Pakistan is entirely misconceived. But you understand that it's another pretext for not bringing the perpetrators to justice. So they come out with one thing at the one time, then as I told you, after 5 days they may come up with another equally bizarre and baseless reason for not doing it. Kasab has had a fair trial in the lower court and also in the high court.
No, I get.
In fact, it has been fair and full trial.
I get your point,
Now, they must respect our judiciary. They must respect our judiciary. Are they questioning the judgment of the High Court?
No, but I get you.
And saying we'll send our commission? No. Why do we even countenance such requests?
No, I get your point,
sir. They should be turned down.
I get your point, sir, but what I fail to understand, please explain this to us, and let me also ask Maroof this. What I fail to understand is why apparently Delhi is saying, sources are saying, we are also willing to give a go-ahead to this Pakistan Judicial Commission that wants to come here to interrogate the sub-divisional magistrate and as well as the investigating officer who recorded Kasab's statement. If we are allowed to send a similar commission to Pakistan, I mean, then we are part of their same tactic.
We are walking into their parlor.
We are walking into their parlor, says Soli Sorabji.
Absolutely.
We are walking into their parlor. But why are we, Maroof? Why are we walking into their parlor unless we want this case to be held in abeyance forever?
No.
Arnab, you see, there are several issues. I brought some of this out in the morning that, we tend to make the perpetual mistake of looking at Pakistan from India's prism. Pakistan is not a civilian-run democracy. It will not be for a long, long time.
Correct.
Until institutions are put in place in that country. Pakistan has a dual system of governance. The civilians are a front for the military to run the country and their foreign policy. And clearly the military is anathema to them to have good relations with India. Because if they do, then they lose their entire funding and their entire purpose. The second point to understand is that the Prime Minister's office, Dr. Manmohan Singh in particular, who is a man I respect for his integrity, but I also, unfortunately, abhor the bad ideas that have come out from his table again and again. One was the joint terror mechanism, which, he initiated years ago in a dialogue with Pakistan. And then you had the disaster in Sharm el-Sheikh. After that, you have all sorts of promises for talks with Pakistan, which Pakistan's foreign minister, ex-foreign minister Qureshi, scuttled. Clearly, he's not been able to read the pulse. I think it's beyond him to do diplomacy with Pakistan. And worse still, he has rehabilitated people who were responsible for the drafting disaster at Sharm el-Sheikh, and they are now supra-foreign secretaries, by the way. And most importantly, we still have one chance to nail Pakistan, which is in the courts in US, where there is evidence that can be still provided by us against General Shuja Pasha and Hafiz Saeed and Naqvi. If we cannot use that opportunity also to nail Pakistan, then there's no need for us to get worried about what's going to happen. There'll be terror attacks again and again, and we'll go through this debate again and again for the rest of our lives.